Hello viewers, another beautiful day. Yeah, hope your five senses work, health and strength is good or excellent. What? Okay, Microsoft, so you're going to stop marketing Xbox consoles in Europe and other regions? Okay, so that means you're more focused on Game Pass. Alright. Okay. Listen to this, viewers. It says here, Microsoft reportedly stopped marketing Xbox consoles in Europe and other regions. And it says, according to a report from Tom Warren of The Verge, at The Verge, Microsoft may soon reportedly stop advertising the Xbox Series X and S consoles in some regions. Warren writes in his The Verge newsletter that a source has claimed Microsoft will halt console marketing in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. This is going to be a major strategic turn in Microsoft gaming division. Instead of encouraging Xbox hardware sales, it would shift the focus towards Game Pass subscription, Xbox controller, cloud gaming through xCloud, and PC game market. The exact sales of the Series X and S have not been reported. However, analysts approximated that the total sales will be in the numbers of 25 to 30 million, far behind the nearly 60 million units sold thus far by PlayStation 5. Taking this clear gap to heart, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer has reiterated the importance of console. And then it says he wrote in his The Verge newsletter, Microsoft has been struggling to sell Xbox Series S and X consoles in many countries across the EMEA, and the tipster believes Microsoft will now allocate less console stock to Europe as a result. A recent report, however, suggests that Microsoft is under high scrutiny over its gaming business in such a vast Activision Blizzard acquisition. Ending console marketing in the poor performing EMEA region would be a reaction to the Series X and S not making any grounds against PlayStation. And then it says, as disappointing as this will be to fans, pulling out of the consoles in Europe doesn't mean it's gone for good. Microsoft hinted it was working on a successor for the next generation. There are further rumors of a portable full native Xbox device as early as 2026. Phil Spencer talked about unique and powerful initiative that Xbox is working on next. In addition, Xbox President Sarah Bond hinted at an upcoming console generation announcement and new hardware this holiday season. Well, if what Tom Warren at The Verge right at The Verge is saying, a source, well, I mean, they do have a new Xbox Series S coming out, so pulling out of Europe and other countries while having a Series S, not Series X digital edition. Sorry about that, Series X digital edition. Let me turn this on real quick. Pulling out of countries while you have a Series X digital edition coming. That doesn't sound right. You know, and you know, you got a user base, so you can't be too desperate or too hasty to, like, you know, to make an aggressive move. You know, sometimes, you know, the game industry has high moments, it has low moments, and as a console manufacturer, you know, I think you have to learn to be patient and also content, but at the same time you have to stay consistent. So to pull out those countries in the middle of the year, we're just in the 11th day of the second half of the third quarter, second quarter of the year, or middle half of the year. Doesn't sound right, especially when you got a Series X digital edition coming. So I think Microsoft need to learn. I think Phil Spencer and the heads at Microsoft, they really need to, when it comes to this video game industry, they need to learn to be patient and learn to be content, but at the same time staying consistent in game development, and staying consistent with your updates, and staying in communication with your users. I don't think. Look, first thing, one thing I would say is that this too. When it comes to the Activision Blizzard deal, I don't think they should have gotten Ubisoft involved in it, because Ubisoft got their own issues to deal with. Plus, they're involved with, I think, Tencent, if I'm not mistaken. Then on top of that, now you should have kept Ori 1 and 2 exclusively on Xbox. You got to keep that game on Xbox. And I wouldn't like Sea of Thieves, when everybody was laughing, when the PlayStation and Nintendo fan base were laughing at it. I wouldn't have put Sea of Thieves on PlayStation. I would have said, like, look, if you want to play Sea of Thieves, you have to get an Xbox, period. And that would have generated some sales from that, if you would have kept it on Xbox, just Xbox only. You know, if you want to play this game, you gotta get an Xbox, period. And sometimes you have to do that. But now you got Sea of Thieves on PlayStation, and I mean, don't get me wrong, Rare is probably benefiting from this. I think you guys should have kept those games, like, you know, Sea of Thieves and Ori, you know, on Xbox. You keep your exclusive games on Xbox, you know, and that's how you maintain your user base, you know, and that will, like, put pressure. That will put pressure on people to definitely have to get an Xbox just to play certain games, you know. You don't just give away all your give away all your jewels and your you don't just give it away just like that. Like some games, like Hi-Fi Rush, okay, that could have been okay, put that on PlayStation and Nintendo. Okay, Minecraft, okay, but Sea of Thieves and Ori, nah. Gears of War, no. Halo, nah. Starfield, no. What else? Elder Scrolls 6, nah. That's supposed to be an Xbox exclusive. Whatever new games you got coming, you got to keep that. You got to keep those on Xbox to keep your user base intact. You know, so yeah. Like some games, some games you can let go of, but the main important ones, nah. But other than that, man, if you're focusing on Game Pass, okay. But people do like their choices, you know. People do like their choices when it comes to gaming on console or PC, or even with these portable PCs. So to pull out right now, I think that's a big no-no. You just got to wait till the end of the year and see what happened. I would say don't focus on the sales numbers of Sony PlayStation 5 so much. I would say focus on, like, making sure your games are being made, making sure the studios are making games. Don't be number one. Okay, don't be laying off so many people. That's for one. Make sure the games are being made. Staying for Xbox and PC, and stay in communication with your user base. You know, and always update your Xbox operating systems and system updates. You know, that's what you focus on. Don't focus on PlayStation sales numbers. You know, don't focus on that. Take care of home base first before you can worry about something else. But to pull out of Europe right now, nah, I wouldn't do it. Purchasing Activision Blizzard, well, Activision Blizzard was up for grabs. Anybody could have got them. They were up for grabs. So Facebook had first dibs at it. Amazon could have gotten them. Even Google. Even Tencent. Any company with big pockets could have gotten Activision Blizzard. So they were up for grabs. So Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard wasn't wrong by any means. Wasn't wrong by any means. Activision Blizzard was really up for grabs. It was really up for grabs. And companies with big pockets could have taken them. Whether Comcast, whether AT&T could have, even AT&T could have gotten them. Even though they were selling who was that? Rocksteady, WB Games, and NetherRealm Studios for $5 billion. I think $5 billion. Just saying, that deal was on the table too. So anybody could have gotten Activision Blizzard. So that was the year. That year when that deal went down, when the deal started, that was the year of acquisitions in the game industry. So whoever had the money could have gotten them. So I don't see, there's nothing wrong from my point of view. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's up for grabs. So to me, Sony missed out on Batman. Tell you the truth, when the deal was on the table, they went and bought Bungie for $6 billion. But then Rocksteady, who could make a Batman game anytime, could have been gotten. Same thing with WB, and also NetherRealm Studios that's working on that Marvel vs. DC game. Whenever that gets more light, whenever more news break on that, Sony missed out on that. They got so caught up in the Activision court case, they probably didn't see the other deal on the table, but they went and got Bungie. So that is Sony missed opportunity. They would have had both Spider-Man and Batman. So yeah, they missed out on that. But other than that, man, Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard wasn't wrong. It wasn't wrong by any stretch of the imagination. If Sony would have put up $70 billion for Activision Blizzard, the PlayStation fanboys wouldn't stop. The Xbox fans would have never heard the end of it. So Microsoft had to do what they had to do. So I don't see any problem with it. But for them now, with this news now talking about pulling out of countries right now, I wouldn't do that right now. You really can't, in a video game market so competitive as this. You really can't pay attention to the competition sales numbers. You really got to focus on your home base and what hardware is using Xbox and all this, and you got to keep those things up to date and keep making games, and that's a big part of it. You have to have fresh new games coming in. So to pull out now, it's I think Microsoft need to learn to be need to learn patience, and they need to learn how to be content. And I say this to Phil Spencer in front of this camera. You need to learn patience, and you need to learn how to be content. And don't worry about Sony PlayStation 5 sales numbers. Well, what you really got to focus on is the Xbox Series X, S, Series X Digital, PC Game Pass, X Cloud. You got to focus on the games that you need to focus on your game development and make sure those developers are making the games like you assign them the job to do, and and provide resource, and let that do the talking versus you're sitting there worrying about PlayStation sales numbers. Because if you keep looking at Sony sales numbers, you're going to keep getting distracted. Bottom line, you're going to lose focus. So to pull out now is like, I don't know. I don't think so. Not so fast. But yeah, the year's not even over yet. And there's up and down moments within the game industry, man. So yeah, yeah. But other than that, man, to make this announcement now, especially when you got new Xbox hardware coming in, the Xbox fans overseas is looking at you like, what are you doing? You know, they're probably looking at you like, what are you doing? So yeah, I know you want to focus on Game Pass, yeah, focus on that too, but nah, don't pull out so fast just yet. The year ain't even over yet. So yeah, but in order for Game Pass to grow, you have to let those studios should be working on those games that they're supposed to be working on. You know, and you're supposed to be bringing those Activision published games, whether it's Spyro, Crash, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft. A new StarCraft announcement will really get PC fans excited. So yeah, that too. So yeah, all those games from Activision since you purchased Activision Blizzard, all those games that you got that Activision Games publish, those games should be on PC and Game Pass right out the gate. You know, so yeah, and then take it from there. But just focusing on Sony's sales numbers alone ain't gonna get the job done. You have to take care of home base. You know, making sure those games are being made. You know, like all those studios you acquired, all of them. And I still say to this day that Microsoft should have never got rid of Arcane Studio, because they could have used Redfall 1 as a stepping stone to build Redfall 2 into a better game. You should have never got rid of them. But that's just me. But you really can't get caught up into Sony sales numbers, man. I mean, if you got for instance, with the whole Marvelverse Capcom situation, okay, fine. If Capcom is making Marvelverse Capcom collection for the Switch and the PlayStation 4, then Phil Spencer, should have went to Capcom and said, okay, well, we want a 1%. We want a 1% stake. We want a 1% stake in Capcom. Any game that you make for Nintendo and Sony, we want it. Okay, if Sony can buy a 1% stake in the Unreal Engine 5, then Phil Spencer, should have went to Capcom and be like, look, okay, we noticed you announced a Marvelverse Capcom collection only for the PlayStation and Nintendo, and you left us out. Okay, since you want to go that route, here's what we want to do. We want to buy a 1% stake in your company. So whatever game you make for PlayStation, whatever game you made for PlayStation and Nintendo, we want it on Xbox. Whether on the Xbox One, the Series S digital, and the Series X and S, Series X physical and digital, and PC Game Pass, we want it. And that's what you're gonna have to, and that's what you should have done. You know, so instead of, you know, and that's what you should have done. Yeah, and then take it from there. But but to be just focusing on Sony sales numbers alone, you're not. I would go as far as say you're not being as competitive like you need to be. You can't let Sony sales numbers distract you. You can't let that take you away from what you got to take care at home. Okay, you guys got Windows to deal with. That's one. Okay, that's the I call that the cloud over Game Pass that feeds Game Pass. You got to focus on Windows. At the same time, you got to focus on Game Pass. Then you got to focus on these studios to make sure these games get made. And then you got to focus on the Xbox stores and consoles getting updates. That's what you focus on. You don't focus on Nintendo sales numbers and PlayStation sales numbers. That will get you distracted, man. So you have to stay competitive. You have to take care of our home base, meaning PC and Xbox. And if it means you got to buy a 1% stake in a company to get some games on your console, okay, so be it. You guys are Microsoft. You're a $3 trillion company. Just saying. Or a multi-billion-dollar company. Just saying. So yeah, that's what you're gonna have to do, man. So you can't be I would say you can't be cheap. I would say you cannot be cheap. You cannot be cheap in this game industry. And I will also say that there is no loopholes or there's no shortcuts in this game industry. So to be pulling out the Middle East just now, come on now, you guys are better than this. So yeah, but seriously though, I would buy a 1% stake in Capcom. Okay, if you're making Marvel vs. Capcom for Nintendo and I would go to Capcom and be like this: if you're making Marvel vs. Capcom for PlayStation and on Nintendo, then we want to buy a 1% stake in your company. We just want 1%. That means whatever game you're making, we want it on the Xbox One, physical and digital edition. We want it on the Xbox Series S digital, and we want it on the Xbox Series X physical and digital, and also PC Game Pass. That's what you're gonna have to do. So yeah, and then take it from there. And I would have went to SNK and did the same thing. Like okay, we know that you brought the Battle Archives to PlayStation, but we never got it. Okay, here's the deal. We want a 1% stake in your company. So okay, what we want the Battle Archives on Xbox consoles, whatever the Xbox One, Series X and S. I would have went to Capcom and be like, look, okay, you released Street Fighter 5, the Series X, the Series X got it, but the Xbox One didn't. We want Street Fighter 6 on the Xbox One. So yeah, so that's what you got to do sometimes, to get traction in your on Xbox, man. So yeah, but don't let the sales numbers of Sony or Nintendo get you distracted. Phil Spencer, you got to take care of home base, man. So yeah, and then go on from there, man. But yeah, to move out of the Middle East, Africa, and Europe, nah. I mean, there's some gamers there that wants an Xbox console. Yeah, sure, you want to sell it digitally and focus on Game Pass. That's cool and all, but there are gamers there that still want the physical console, so they can play their games, man. So yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the whole thing, though. But yeah, this is just. I'm just looking at this and I'm like, huh? You're trying to focus on I mean, this is going. I mean, this is strategic, but you still got to have some consoles around, you got to understand that too. That not everybody can afford the internet. I mean, the internet is there, but not everybody can still afford it. Some people still can afford it. Some people don't like being on the internet. So as the head of Xbox, you got to be like, okay, well, we still got to make physical, we still got to make the consoles, because some people want to play their Xbox offline if they can't afford the internet, if they can't maintain the consistency of keeping the internet up, so you got to keep that in mind too. So yeah, and then take it from there. But you really cannot let the Sony sales numbers of their PlayStation 5 console get you distracted. And that's my thoughts on the whole thing. But anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek fan, or Dark Side. Go. Peace. All right, man. What's up? How may I help you? What you want? What you want? You know I'm gonna charge you, or you just want to play, huh? Look at you. Anyway, let me cut this video off. This cat won't let me go. Look, I'm trying to stop this video from running. Can I do that? No. Anyway, let me get out of here.